me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. Here we are on Thursday, and I, of course, am super excited because you already know the drill. We are one day away from officially being the weekend, and your girl loves the weekend. It's just what it is. Work very hard throughout the week, so I get super excited on Thursday evening to just run amok, and that is my thing, my goodness. So, of course, I wanted to come on board and say hello to you on this lovely Thursday. But outside of that, I wanted to send some love out to my newbies and also to the people who are just joining me today. I greatly appreciate your time and your energy on bringing all of your love over here to this channel. And of course, if you are an OG and you have been here through the thick and the thin and all of that other great stuff, thank you so much for joining me today, as usual, because your support is fantastic. As always, if you can, I would greatly appreciate you sharing, commenting, hitting the notification button, and of course, subscribing if you have not subscribed, but also subscribing if you've just been looking at me, looking at you, looking at me for the last year or two and just never committed. It's time to commit. I'm just saying, it is time to commit. So, coming off of our Tuesday conversation, I wanted to just touch bases on the premise of not panicking. And I say that I probably could have did it in sequence, in more or less the opposite sequence, and actually talked about not panicking and then talking about calm. But I just thought about the literal sense of calm, and I realized that even some of the comments were actually panicking about the fact that you really couldn't figure out what made you calm, which actually made me kind of giggle, because the truth of that matter is that you don't have to stress how you get calm or how you create your calm. So I don't want you to panic. I want you to literally know that it is yours already. Everything you need, everything you want in life, it is yours. No one can take what is yours. Everything is proprietarily issued. Everything has a place, right? So panicking is not something that I want you to do. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Don't panic. Now, let's take that and break that down into little bite-sized pieces so that we can discuss it. So when we're talking about what we want to do, and I'm notorious to tell you to talk less, do more. I'm going to tell you to think big. I'm going to tell you, that you want to fall forward, and mistakes mean that you are, in a progressive state. I also want you to understand that in all of that, you don't really want to panic. And typically we panic about crazy stuff. Things that we really can't control. You can't control other people's responses. You can't control others' perspectives. You can't control anything that starts with others. But what you can control is self. So anything that brings forth self-love, self-respect, self-care, those are all things that you want to know, that you want to stay focused and grounded in. When you do things that way, when you do anything that way, you'll notice that panicking does not become a part of your life. And you don't panic because everything that you need, you're in control of. Things that you are not control of or not in control of, there's nothing to really discuss. It's out of your hands. So from that point, you just kind of drop it and you move on and you focus on the things that you can actually control. That stops panic in its tracks. There's absolutely no way to continue to panic about anything. Now, if you're telling me that you're still worried about what you think you can do, now that's something different. And that's another piece of the pie that we want to cut through and say, why do you feel like you can't do it? What's happening in your mindset? What's causing you to feel as if you're not trusting yourself? Because now we're back to that word again, self. If you are finding yourself panicking about yourself, then you have to know that that is something that you can actually control. And the first way to control that is to really do what I just did and ask yourself those questions. What exactly is it that is holding your mindset back? Have you made decisions in the past and you felt as if you have not forgiven yourself for those decisions? Believe it or not, that is one of the largest, if not the largest, issues with us as individuals. Other people have even forgiven you. Spiritually, you've been forgiven, but you have not forgiven yourself. And when you are in that place, you'll notice that you walk through life in a panic. And you'll almost fall for anything because you are not rooted to anything. And you find yourself just kind of going through the motions. The worst thing that you can do is to not trust yourself. It's yourself. I need you to know that whatever it is that you did wrong, there was a lesson and there was a blessing in it. There's always things that manifest that we don't want. There are plenty of things in life that actually take you through a trial. But if you really think about even the trials in your life, you were bettered by it in some form or another, either emotionally, financially, spiritually, experience-wise, all of those things. I saw someone write not too long ago on their wall that they would rather have wisdom over knowledge. I'm going to say that even in that, I would still tell you that I would definitely want to be wise before I'd want to just know something. You might say, well, what's the difference? Well, knowing something and not really knowing the outcome of something is something different. So when you typically think of wisdom, it's the end result of whatever the experience was. To know something doesn't necessarily mean that you've actually gone through whatever it is, right? Like I know how to ride a horse, but I've never ridden a horse. So the knowledge of knowing how to ride the horse is not anywhere near the wisdom of how to experience the horse because I would have actually tried it. Sometimes in life, you'll find yourself fighting with that energy to say, now that you feel like you know something based on the wisdom of something else, you'll literally lose the opportunity to actually create wisdom on the thing you think you know. So sometimes we make decisions based off of our past. And you have to remember that you can't really make that move unless you understand that you're doing the past motion differently. Now, you don't want to repeat the same thing. Like if you know that you went left 2 blocks back and it puts you into a dead end, then I wouldn't tell you that you would want to take that wisdom, right, of knowing what that is and still make a left. I would hope that you would take the wisdom of that and actually decide to either go straight or right or make a U-turn or do something different. In that is when you start to learn that you don't really need to panic because you have to still believe, as you always hear me say, that every problem has a solution. Typically, you're in control of what you believe that solution to be. Some solutions come very easy and very quickly, and you can easily assess the ability to find that solution, and others require some input from other people or some other tools and things of that sort. But the question is, do you understand that in either of those, because you understand and you have an experience in it, there's no reason to panic. So what if I said that knowledge and wisdom really work hand in hand if you work them? If you don't, then you can easily see how you can panic about whatever your next move or your next relationship or your next career is. Sometimes it's just simply jumping off of the flipping cliff, like taking the leap, telling yourself that it is going to be done even if you have to do it scared, telling yourself that even in knowing what you want to do, you have to have the wisdom of believing in the capabilities of yourself. And sometimes it's just simply not listening to people who are telling you what you shouldn't do and they haven't done what you've done. All of those things bring forth a sense of panic. And if you really hear what I'm trying to say, I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to walk through worried about what it looks like on the other side. Because sometimes just believing in the outcome being in a positive manner is just all it takes for you to be able to actually maneuver through the minutia while you're trying to make your life change or renewed or just differentiate, the good from the bad in your life. We have to be willing to make decisions quickly because most of the time that you're panicking, it causes you to literally become stagnant and complacent. And with that being said, then there's really no movement that'll happen and you may miss an opportunity that you were well equipped for, but you allowed the panic of someone else's past and their experience that they've put on you or your own that you now just feel like you can't make a great decision because you haven't seen where the blessing was of what you might have thought was a hiccup or a mistake. I don't believe in mistakes, as crazy as it is. I really don't believe in them. I believe that everything that has ever happened to me was divinely orchestrated. I believe that it was supposed to happen. I believe that it's just not always fun to go through it. But I believe it was all supposed to happen. I believe that the timing in my life is exactly aligned with what my destiny is. That is also a mindset that allows me to not really go through a lot of panics. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not about really waiting. I'm not a very patient person. But through the years, I've really learned that patience is a virtue that you really want to at least have a complete comprehension of, so that when you know you're not utilizing it, you can at least lean back on the fact that you know you need to try it in situations and circumstances. And that has really helped me a lot in not to panic, because those are just things that you don't want to be bothered with. Everybody wants to get where you're trying to get quickly. Even when you're thinking about driving on the freeway, you want to get there. You really want to get there. And sometimes you'll just be angry. You won't even be in a rush, but you don't want somebody to be in front of you, slowing you down to get where you want, because you want the ability to have the control. And that is what I mean when we're talking about don't panic. You have the control. You have the control to look at whatever the circumstance is, be it fun or not, in a capability of understanding that it's divine and it's going to work exactly the way it needs to. So there really is no need for panic. And truthfully, panic is just one of those emotions that just doesn't make sense, because it turns into so many other things of anxiety and anger and disappointment. And really, it's just a manifestation of thoughts that should not be running your life at the time that they're doing it. So if you find yourself panicking, if you find yourself in a space where you're like, I really just don't know, and I'm so worried, and I really want to be in control, just stop and think about the last time that you felt that panic, the last time that you felt that uncertainty. Think of the situation and then think about how it was solved. And then tell me that you weren't able to find peace in it, because whatever happened, it didn't kill you. You're still here. You're still able to go on to the next thing. You're still able to move in a position that you can still reach whatever goal you want. Might not have been fun, might not have been the best experience, but guess what? It didn't kill you. And we all know the rule, and we know the cliche. If it didn't kill you, then you have the opportunity to continue to try and try and try again until you achieve your goals. So that's just what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to bring forth the idea of don't panic. Don't panic. Whatever is yours is waiting on you. You're not waiting on it, it's waiting on you. So just imagine all you're doing is waiting on the ability and opportunity to meet up with your destiny. That's it. That is all. So that is really all I wanted to bring on to you today on this fabulous Thursday. I'm hoping that you have a fantastic weekend. Of course, hoping that you get to spend some time with your family, have a little rest time, have a mental break. Make sure you take the time to really decompress and get your mindset in where it needs to be, not only for the weekend, but for the week to come. As always, do 3 things. Live life authentic. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you're abreast of when I am actually coming on and if something goes up and I tape something differently. Also, look forward to doing some new things next month. We're going to kind of have some fun with that. I'm pretty excited. And, this time we're going to really make it work. I'm super stoked about it. And as always, I will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.